Hey everyone, I thought we'd take a look at this old piece of test equipment here. This is a V O Matic 360 made by B&K Manufacturing Company in Chicago, Illinois, made in the USA. According to a website, radiomuseum.org, this particular model of multimeter was made in 1963. So if this was manufactured on the same date, then yeah, this is a pretty old unit. Got the basic stuff you'd expect to see on a multimeter like this. You got your DC volts, AC volts ranges up here. You can measure ohms, you can measure current. I'm guessing this is for selecting the polarity of the DC coming in. Got your ohms adjust. Got an output here, 10 amp input for the current, although I don't see where that actually is on here. I just see 100 microamps, 5 milliamp, 100 milliamp, 500 milliamp. So I guess it's somewhere. Anyways, you got your inputs here, which I guess would be for the your regular test leads. And it's also here on the side we got 6,000 volt AC and DC. So that's pretty high. That's crazy. There's another hole in here that looks like it's the adjustment for the needle on the meter there. It's not in too bad shape. If it's that old, there's a crack up here. Looks like it might have been dropped at some point, and it's got a bit of a chip there too. Missing a piece here. This is Bakelite. It's a pretty hard stuff. It's got a couple stickers still on it, like this one here that says 902386. Don't know what that one would have been used for there, or who put it on. Crack right here on the top. You can see it's pretty dusty. It's patina. Got another label over here that says Westcon, and I'm guessing it's some sort of a, like one of those asset tag type tags. The handle here, the handle itself is actually not too bad. These the two end pieces here, they're pretty rusty, but they're still together. What I think is really cool about this particular meter is that, unlike something else like this Sperry SP160 here, which has actually seen better days itself, it's pretty cracked. It's I'm missing the back piece for it, or the back cover for it. This was actually given to me some time ago, and it's been like a lot of my other things, it kind of gets thrown in a box and then it just kind of makes its way around in the garage or wherever. Eventually some stuff ends up getting a little more damaged than when I originally got it, and this was one of those things, and so kind of a shame that I let it get this bad. But I mean, I'm sure I could actually get it working again if I really tried. The battery holders would need replacing though. They're pretty crusty, and as you can see, this wire here just completely corroded off of the terminal there. But other than that, I think it probably should be fairly easy to get it going again if I really wanted to. So, and anyways, as I was saying, I kind of went on a tangent there. Unlike something like this multimeter where it's got the all the ranges on the movement there, this one, as you can see, only has one here that shows up. And what's really cool is that when you go to select a different range, like say right now we're at DC 1000 volts, if we go to 300, the whole range changes. So as you turn the knob here to select whatever you want to measure, it actually changes the scale itself. So you don't have everything on there at one time. It's just what you want to see. So I think that's pretty cool. And when I saw this, I was not totally blown away, but I thought it was pretty neat. So yeah, it's actually pretty cool. So I want to open it up, see what's inside of this thing, and see how that whole mechanism works, which I'm pretty sure it's just going to be like, you know, some gears or whatever, just linking these two together. See if maybe it needs something replaced inside. I believe, according to that website, that this used a 9-volt and a 1D size battery, and if those are still in there, they're probably going to be super crusty, but I have no idea because I haven't opened this up yet. It's already actually missing one of the screws. I believe it's the one up here was already missing, but it's still got the other three. Okay, so the 3 screws that were actually present are out. As you can see, it's they're not self-threading screws or self-tappers or anything. These are actually machined, so that means that there's going to be some threaded inserts in the Bakelite there. So now this should pop up, I believe. Maybe. There it goes. That side popped out, this side popped out, and there we go. Yep, there's still 2 batteries in there, and holy crap, that battery, this one here looks like it might be pretty old. That one there looks a lot more recent. Surprisingly enough, there's not really any leakage or anything. So this is a Rocket High Super. Let's see if there's a date on this thing here. Don't see any dates on here at all. That's actually kind of a neat looking battery. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's like one of those heavy duty ones, but I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. So that's pretty cool. And now the 9-volt here is in, it's like there's somebody put this little wooden block here. Hold it in perhaps? Huh. Anyways, so here's the 9-volt, and that's actually not a leak or anything either, so that's cool. Not a whole lot going on inside of the back cover. There's a little bit of crustiness in there. It looks like something might have spilled at some point, maybe a battery or something. There is the mechanism itself. So got that big large gear there driving that big old drum that's got all the ranges on it. And we've got our wafer switches there and a bunch of resistors for all the ranges, selecting the ranges and everything. This smells kind of burnt. Oh, and it actually is kind of burnt. Check it out. So hopefully you can kind of see that there, but that right there looks pretty crispy, and I could smell it like as soon as that cover came off. It smelled like something kind of fried. Might have been that resistor that's like right there next to that little post right there that seems to be holding up the top of the switch there. My guess is that someone at some point probably had it on the wrong range and maybe ran too much current through this thing. The bottom switch here, it's going to be kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can get some better lighting on that. But it actually, there's some spots where it looks pretty dark. It's not very, yeah, like right there, you can kind of see it. So, I don't know. This might have gotten a bit of damage from the looks of it if somebody tested something wrong there. But anyways, see what else we got in here. This looks to be our big 10 amp shunt, and then a smaller one here, that little small one that loops right there. Got an old, looks like it might be maybe a wax capacitor, 0.1 microfarad, 600 volts. There's really not a whole lot in here. There's our banana jacks right there. That looks like it, I don't know, maybe it's just from the soldering. That wire right there, the end of it looks a little burnt, but maybe it's not from whatever fried the rest of this thing. So our battery holder, and it looks like those are also our contacts for the meter. It's fairly large if it goes all the way down here. There's a couple screws right here that we can probably remove and take this off and look at the back of that meter there, the movement. Here we have, looks like a big, yeah, we got a couple, these are going to be a couple of high voltage resistors there, or the ones that go to the high voltage contacts. There's one side of our drum there, and it looks like somebody put duct tape on it. I don't know for what reason. Maybe something was kind of loose. If we turn this knob here, we can see how it rotates that drum to the next scale there. The cool thing is that the switch is still actually in pretty good condition here. It actually, when it clicks into place, you know it's clicked into place. It doesn't like feel wobbly at all or anything, and it drops into those cutouts pretty nicely. So when you switch the range, I think you can be pretty confident that it's in the right spot and it's not going to be like somewhere in between. I just noticed that down inside there, underneath the drum, there's another one of these labels that has 902386 written or stamped on it. So I'm guessing that's probably going to be like a serial number or something, because that's the same number that was on the back cover there, 902386. So I guess just to keep them matched or something. I took the 2 screws out of here from the battery case, and I took off the nuts that held the movement into place. I think that might have been a bad idea, because it seems like the movement just kind of dropped down there, and I'm really trying not to damage this thing any more than some of this other stuff already is. So I think what I might have to do is remove this gear from up here, and it looks like I'm gonna have to be really careful here not to mess this up anymore, but there's a set screw right there, and I think maybe if I remove that, I should be able to pull this gear out. And then the drum is held on by these sort of like sleeve bearings right here on the ends, and those, it's probably easier to see on the other side, but those just have a single screw holding them down. And yeah, I really don't know who might have put this tape on, because it seems like it's really old tape by the feel of it, but I don't know if there's a reason for it being on there or not. So let me see if I can remove that stuff, and then maybe we'll be able to get down there and put that movement back onto that case. Okay, so it actually turns out that there was 2 set screws on this big gear here. Unfortunately, there is nothing on the gear to make it so that it lines up to a certain spot on the little shaft here. It looks like somebody had actually marked this before, like they had removed it at some point and then put some little marks here with pen. But unfortunately it doesn't look like it really corresponds to anything else on here. So when I put it back together, I just got to make sure that I put the drum on at the right scale, you know, depending on where the switch is. But other than that, I mean, that shouldn't be too difficult. There was the 2 screws here that came out. The one that was inside here actually looked a little stripped, like somebody had messed with it before. So I'm pretty sure this has been taken apart before. So now these 2 little things here should just come out, and I guess they're bringing the whole drum with it. And there is that old tape, and it's really crispy and crunchy, as you can hear. So there's those 2 sleeves that hold the drum in place. The drum's actually really light. Like, I'm pretty sure this is probably hollow inside. I mean, it's really not going to be a whole lot to it. All it does is just have the scales on it and stuff swelling out. Oh, I see. So this shaft actually slides out. It's not fixed into place. So these washers were falling out. Let's just make sure we get those back on there. So I'm going to set this aside. There's really not a whole lot of stuff going on in there. And yeah, this movement's moving around quite a bit here. I'm going to try to be careful and not damage that needle or anything. This here, I actually had to desolder the resistor here that was soldered onto that tab there. And this is the battery compartment coming off, and there it is. I want to make sure I didn't screw anything up here. Here's another washer stuck to the magnet, and there's the movement. So yeah, see, originally what I was thinking was that the movement was going to be screwed onto the front here somehow, but it actually turns out that it wasn't. The only things holding it in place were those 2 nuts on the battery compartment. But it doesn't look like I managed to break anything there or damage it, so I think that should be fine. There's actually a couple things on here too. Looks like a really old school diode there, and then a resistor, and not a whole lot else. So that is that. We will set this aside very carefully, and let's see what else we can see in here. Not a whole lot. There's this reflective piece of what I think might be steel or something right there, just to reflect the needle so you can see it from outside. Another thing I noticed here on the battery compartment is that it looks like this has been manually ground off to allow some space for the drum, as it would sit, like, you know, kind of like that. Sorry about the lighting here. I'm trying to not have it be so terrible, but so anyways, the drum kind of sits up here like that. And even though it looks like there would have been enough space to allow the drum to rotate freely, Maybe they did that just so that, you know, if there was like some movement or something, it wouldn't bind with the top here, so they just kind of give it a little bit of a curvature just to avoid any issues. Down on the inside here, it looks like there's a couple of these little rubbery sort of like shock mounts, but they don't seem to be holding anything, because when you put this on it, I don't think it... So, oh, you know what? These would probably be to keep the needle from like smacking from one side to the other, like, you know, hitting something else. So they kind of hit these little rubber mounts instead. These little mounting posts for that battery holder, they're like a little bit recessed, but this one here still has kind of like that lip, but this one, it's like it broke at some point. Another thing that I found kind of interesting in here is that we've got these two kind of like spring contacts, and we saw that the D battery was actually down here held in place with the spring contact. There's another one up here, and that's actually wired directly onto the negative terminal of the 9-volt battery connector there. So I'm wondering if maybe at some point this particular model had some sort of a 9-volt battery that fit in here, you know, and next to this 1.5-volt battery. So you've had the big D cell here, and then you had another 9-volt battery that would have fit there, but they added this on because, you know, those kinds of batteries probably weren't available anymore, because this here looks like it's been soldered on after the fact, although the solder job on this side looks pretty original. So I don't know if this would have been sold with that connector already in place or not. I really have no idea. So we're almost done with this here, but one last thing that I noticed is that the ohms adjust knob here in the front is actually a switch. You can pull it out and pop it in. So I've never really used one of these old multimeters like this before, so I'm guessing that must have some, maybe like an on-off switch. I mean, this old Sperry doesn't do it. This one's just another potentiometer, so I don't know what it does on this one. I guess I could probably maybe find a manual online or something. Although I think maybe if I found a schematic, that could probably also give some clues as to what that does, because it doesn't say anything on the front here, in the back, or anywhere about as to what pulling this one here does. So I think that's pretty much it. Not a ton of stuff to see inside of this, and a lot of meters like this, you know, it really was kind of like down to all these different resistor or selections with these wafer switches, and a lot of, you know, it's all passive stuff. But if you like this kind of stuff, remember to thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to. I just kind of thought this would be interesting, just taking a look at some old school stuff. But if you watched it, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.